The wait is over, and finally, James Cameron is ready to deliver, folks. Because, yep, after 13 long years, the sequel to Avatar is here, and I'm ready to talk about it. So, folks, let's jump into my review of the new film, Avatar: The Way of Water. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new film Avatar: The Way of Water, coming to theaters December 16th. Man, it's been a long time. Taking us back to December 18th, 2009 is when the first Avatar film released, and now nearly 13 years later, the sequel is ready, and it is already causing a lot of buzz during the award season. Already been nominated for a couple of big things, which I would expect. Big best picture, best motion picture, and director. So we're going to see what happens once the awards start to come in, but the nominations are here, and this name is this film is already making waves on some of these ballots here. So good for it. And honestly, James Cameron's been talking a big game. You know, he's been saying a lot of things about all of the comic book movies, and he, you know, him and his got to make sure the technology right and all those sorts of other little things he was saying. I gotta say, man, he kind of backed it up. Like, granted, the first one definitely was a needle pusher, but this one definitely does something that I think we've only seen once, maybe twice. Definitely The Hobbit, and maybe Gemini Man with Will Smith. But this is when you talk about the visuals, astonishing, breathtaking. It is unlike anything you've ever seen. It is a must-see in IMAX 3D, as it's 3D the entire time, and it instantly captures you. It's a long film, don't get me wrong, 3 hours and 12 minutes, but every bit of the 3 hours and 12 minutes visually looks amazing. So for sure, the talk about the technology and all this other stuff, or whatever he had to do to get it done, well, yeah, he put the work in, because it looks amazing. As I mentioned, it's already been nominated for Best Motion Picture, and he's been nominated for Best Director, and I can see why. But yeah, you know, I'll keep it 100. Again, it's been nearly 13 years since the first one. I vaguely remember what the first one was about, nor do I really care. Like, that's my honest to God feeling. Like, I do not feel like I need to go back and watch the other one at all. Like, granted, I understand the world that they built. I understand the stakes that they built, the introduction to the characters, but yet a lot of that is not really important to appreciate this. Because when it comes to Jake Sully and now his family going forward, it's all about Pandora now. Nothing's happening on Earth, and it's all about establishing this world, his family, and then when you come back to Colonel Miles Quaritch, who clearly has this vendetta that he can't let go, he brings the war to them. So yes, it went about, you know, mining minerals to now Earth is dying, now they need a new home to move humanity, but yet it's all about a vendetta from the disloyalty from the first one. And that's what this whole film is doing. You got Colonel Miles Quaritch after Jake to no end, like, period. And meanwhile, Jake is protecting not only the Na'vi but his family. We learn more about his family. We actually really connect with his family, and I think with all this time, you start to understand and individualize each one of his kids to their personalities, their positioning in the family, and so on. So, like, they really do flesh out all of the characters in this and make them all interesting and yet emotionally connected to them. So I thought they did a really good job in terms of, like, the emotional connection to the story here. But beyond that too, it's just all about the visuals, man. The 3D is amazing, and when you start to add some of, like, the color contrast from the low light to the neons to the water shots, I mean, it looks insane. And if I had to kind of compare the visuals to a couple of things jumped out at me. First thing that really jumped out to me is that if you remember the scene, if you've seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever, if you remember the scene when Namor basically took Shuri to Talokan for the first time, and she was in the suit and she's going through like the water waves, and how visually it let them exploring this community. It's like that, but the entire film. It's like every single time it could have been short, it's completely fleshed out to give you the entire visuals of the environment that they're at, whether it's aerial, whether it's underwater. They're giving you it all and they're fleshing it out. And also, it definitely feels like a video game because it is in high frame rates. So that refresh rate makes things look really, really, really smooth, just like a video game. So when I think about video games, I think about cutscenes and like Final Fantasy, especially like Final Fantasy X, even though like, you know, those are kind of dated graphics. But if you take what Final Fantasy was doing, and you add like the visuals and effects from like Final Fantasy 15, that's a lot of what you were getting. Actually, Talokan kind of looks like Final Fantasy X too when I think about it. But also in this too, like, you know, in terms of the characters, I mean, you had a lot of strong, angry women that were going to protect their coats by any means. And I liked it because it made the women fierce. It made them look strong. The voice acting with these characters was fantastic. Again, interesting characters up and down. And on the contrary, I mean, you just hate humanity, period. Like every single time you actually wanted to give humanity a try, it just was not working. Humanity sucks. The humans suck this entire film. I thought the stunt work was really good. Like if I had to be in the film to be an extra, it would be this one. Like some of the practical stunts in this is really, really good. And a lot of time when people look at stunts, they always look on the offensive things. But look at the folks who are taking blasts, who are flying off of ships and all that stuff. It looks fantastic. It looks kind of fun, you know. But let's get to what I felt like was the strongest part of this film. And it's the third act. It is, I mean, the action is non-stop. And it's so good. It makes the build up to this final act, this third act, worth the wait. Every bit of, let's say, I think they got to the third act about 45 minutes to the end of the film. But it made it all worth the wait. The action was fantastic. The visuals with it. The score was really good. You really were at the edge of your seat. The suspense, because you just did not know what was going to happen. There was so much happening too. So yeah, it's almost like a roller coaster. Or like an amusement park of a film. Like you just got so much happening in so many different directions. You just don't know what you want to get on first because there's so much happening, you know. But with that being said too, there's a lot of emotions. I did hear a couple of people come out the theater saying they cried. And I think that's a very accurate and genuine response. I mean, I teared up in Wakanda Forever, and I think that folks who are very much connected to this, especially the fact that there's like animals dying in this as well too, is definitely going to hit you in the gut. You know, you definitely going to feel something one way or another. And amongst some other things. But in terms of the visuals too, I think I said it earlier, but just in case, the contrast of colors when they're using like neon colors against like dark colors and whatnot, like the sky and it's like eclipse of a scene and then hitting the neon color water or the bright blue color water, it looks crazy good. Really, really good. For all the folks who like those type of really abstract type of desktop wallpapers, like yeah, that stuff, you know. But you know, it did teach some lessons. You know, the Sullys, they gotta stick together. And overall, it's really a big film about revenge and vendettas, and kids are going to be kids. That's another thing. The kids are definitely going to be kids, but I will say, like, the kids can learn from the adults and the adults can learn from the kids, because there's just a lot of little different crazy things happening here. And I got to say, Tuck is my favorite Sully kid. She is amazing. I got to talk to Trinity Bliss at D23 and then talking about her role, and she's such a fantastic person and so much energy. But man, I did not know I would love her character the way I did. Tuck was so good. And there's a lot of other likable characters that I'm sure you would like as well, but Tuck really did it for me. I mean, this young kid just had all the energy. and a lot of the commentary I would have. But again, you know, kids are going to be kids. They're going to get themselves in trouble over and over and over, even though when you tell them don't do something, they go back and do it again. And Tuck is mildly the epitome of that, but you cannot help but to root for her. She is a little feisty, just like her mother, which I like. So there's a lot that goes on this film. I mean, what you expect for 3+ hours? Of course, a lot's going to happen. But the last thing I will say is a couple of other things I want to say really quick. In terms of cinematography, when they really got on some up close shots, especially with the action, it was literally, so good. Really, really good. And as far as the folks who may be a little reserved about the 3D, I thought the 3D was very easy on the eyes. I didn't feel any type of and as a person who has motion sickness and sometimes vertigo, I didn't struggle at all with this one. Even with the high frames, it again, if you're a gamer, I think you'll be totally fine. But anybody who may not, I still think the 3D was very easy on the eyes. I don't think you have anything to worry about on that note. And as far as just the film itself, it's long. It feels long, but there's so much to just sit back and just appreciate with the visuals that before you know it, the 3 hours have passed. And that's fine, because I feel like this is truly the first of the film, the reintroduction to this world, and then the world building these characters that you don't really have to go back and watch the first, but that we know that 2 more are coming. I'm ready for them to happen. This was the good reintroduction to everything, and we got a lot more story to go, because we left off with a big exclamation point on this one, and now we got to deliver. So, you know, for everything James Cameron was saying, I think it's okay. I think it's okay that he was talking the way he was talking, because I thought this film was definitely one that was just definitely some effort in this one for sure. And as I said, it's making this buzz in an award season thus far. So, you know, we're going to see what it actually wins. But the fact that it's already been nominated is definitely a step in the right direction here. So I don't really have anything negative to say about this film, except the time is as long. But I think that, you know, coming back into the world of Avatar, not really caring about the first, not really remembering about the first, I think this one was a really good step forward to kind of wash that away. The 13 years ago of memories you're trying to respark, forget all that. To step in this, you'll be okay, and we'll see what happens when we get ready for the next 2 films and more, because I'm sure he want to cook up some more, and we'll see what this make, man. Listen, don't have any competition in December, so I don't know if it's going to be the highest grossing film of all time like the first one, but I think it should probably bounce around the top 5 a little bit, man. I think folks are going to go spend that money, and not to mention that you spend a little bit of extra money because you got to see it in IMAX, 3D, or Dolby, whatever it's going to be. See it in the best quality that is available, period. So yeah, folks, jump in the comments, let me know your thoughts about this film, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.